Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Review. My name is David T. Allen, or Super Dave 817 if you would like. If you want to see more of this content, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Review. I am David Allen, or if you would like, you can call me Super Dave 817. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us today. Woody is the first one in the chat. What up, Super Dave? What up, Woody? Thank you for joining us. This is our 150th sub. Sean Jones, thank you for joining us. Whoa. Our 150th subs episode, special episode. I appreciate everybody joining me today. Thank you very much. Yay, 150. And Sean Jones. Yay. So we have a lot to go through in this fun episode. First, I want to say everybody that has subscribed, everybody that has liked and shared and hit that notification button, please do so again. And I want to say thank you to all of you guys for contributing and being involved and adding to this channel and asking questions and being part of the chat and being part of the conversation, all the new news that's been coming out, all the classified reviews we've been doing, all the G.I. Joe products you guys have been asking questions and talking to me about. Thank you all very much. I very much appreciate all your contributions to this channel. We wouldn't have gotten to this point if it wasn't for you guys, because it's very boring to hear me just talking all day long. It's better to get some soundboards, and you guys are the soundboards for me to talk to and get questions and things like that. So it really from the bottom of my heart, thank you, everybody in the chat and everybody that has subscribed and has been a part of this channel. It's been a little over a year since we started this channel. We started August 2024. Yes, I have been doing interviews for over 25 years and contributing to the comic industry for doing interviews of comic artists, writers, publishers, and covering panels and stuff in the comic industry for all this time, all these years. But the G.I. Joe community, I joined 2010, and I was a bit of a lurker for a little while there. And then I started to get to know a lot of people in the community, and I got comfortable in doing reviews on G.I. Joe products. And then I started interviewing people about their Kickstarters, G.I. Joe community members that had been doing Kickstarters, like Roger Taft, Carson Metaxas, Dan Klingensmith Jr., the Robo Skull guys, folks that have also got other channels in the G.I. Joe arena that I've interviewed, like Patty Lennon, Brian Hickey, Patrick Stewart, Phil Donaldson, the What's on Joe Mind guys, a whole bunch of other, Travis Moody, Cobra Commander, Chad from It's Chad. I've interviewed a lot of writers. I've interviewed a lot of artists, people from publishers, from the history of the G.I. Joe brand, like Kurt Bazigian, Larry Hama, Ron Rudat, Vinny D'Aleva, Daryl DePriest, Josh Blaylock, all kinds of people that I've interviewed for this brand over the decades. You can go back and watch a lot of those interviews in my catalog, my library, and Sergeant Slaughter as well, he's one of my favorite people in the G.I. Joe community. Um, and I've covered a lot of events over the years as a member of the G.I. Joe community. I've covered, of course, JoeCon, Joe Fest, Assembly Required, uh, Jolana, Toylana, Kentuckiana. I've covered a lot of events over the years as well. So I want to say thank you to all those people that gave me their time, gave me their ear, and let me ask them questions and let me showcase their talents as well in my time as an interviewer, my time as a contributor to this community. Thank you to all of you, the RoboSkull guys as well. So thank you for everybody that has been a part of this journey with me. Thank you very much. Let's see. Bobby World, congratulations on 150. Thank you very much, Bobby World. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining the chat. And everybody's saying hello to everybody. All right, so we're gonna ask you guys a question. We're gonna get this started with a question, because I've said that we're gonna open up another Street Fighter figure from if we get to this 150 subs episode, and we'll probably do another Street Fighter when we get to 200 episodes. We're about 186 or so, so it's not going to be that far off that we're going to do that 200 episodes, not subs, but episode special. So we're going to do another Street Fighter for that one, but I wanted to get moving on some of these Street Fighters because I love them. I think they're really cool. Jada Toys does a fantastic job with Street Fighter, and Street Fighter is very connected to G.I. Joe. It was part of the original O-Ring line from 82 to 94. It was around 92, 93, and 94 of the end of the original O-Ring line. So we already opened up can't think of his name. Ryu. We opened up Ryu when we hit our 100 subs. Now we're at 150 subs. So I want to give you guys the opportunity to vote. So I'm going to showcase all these figures, and we're going to open up the Street Fighter figure at the very end after you guys voted which one you want to see. First, we're going to go with Ken. So if you would like me to open up Ken, let me know in the chat. I will go through the chat and I will count how many votes each figure gets. All right, so then we have Chun-Li. If you want me to open up Chun-Li, then mention Chun-Li in the vote. Only do one vote because it's going to be difficult for me to count how many votes. If you want me to open M. Bison, put his name in the chat, and I will go back and we will count. Or if you would like me to open up Fei Long. So those are your four choices for Street Fighter figure that you guys would like me to open up at the end of this video. We're going to do our Street Fighter figure at the very end. All right. Michael Gene Fleming, you made it. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Congratulations. Good timing. I can listen in on the drive home. Thank you very much, Michael Gene Fleming. You are one of the first people to join the chat, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So we got a vote for M. Bison so far. All right, so then we're going to go into my top 10 Joes. So I've got them in order. I already got them laid out here. And I'll talk a little bit about each Joe, why they're my favorite Joe and stuff. We're going to start with number 10, and we're going to go backwards. All right? We did this with the 100 subs. We did my favorite all-time characters, and we went backwards. So hello, Dave. Hello, Clement. Thank you for joining us. It's got to be pretty late where you are. Thank you very much for joining the chat, Clement. I appreciate it. You've always been really cool. Thank you. Woody. Let's see. hit the like button, people. Super Clement, yay! Hit the like button. You know what to do, you guys. Everybody that's here has been part of the chat for quite some time, and I appreciate it. You guys have all helped get us to get to this point, and so we're gonna have a lot of fun with this video. So let's get into our top 10 characters. So because my journey of GI Joe is a little bit different than most people, I started at the beginning of '83. So that's when the OG 13 turned into the swivel arm. So I got a bunch of the swivel arm Joes, but I did not get a lot of the straight arm Joes, right? So one of the first mail away figures, and it was a really cool character, was a new leader, a new commander. He was a sergeant that was joining the GI Joe ranks. It was probably the first mail away. I think no, I think Major Blood might have been the first mail away, and then this character might have been the second. I can't remember. But my number 10 character is our sergeant at as the leader of the GI Joe team, Duke Hauser. Now, again, Duke is a really cool leader. I really like him. He's a family man. He has different members of his family that have appeared in GI Joe, and he always was a much easier going leader, in my opinion, than Hawk. I didn't really get to know Hawk as much until '86. Even though he was an OG 13, they didn't really do that much with a lot of the OG 13 in animation or the comics. It kind of went to about 10, issue 10 in the comics, and then you got the second tier, the '83s, and all that on up. One or two of the characters, like Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Stalker, and them, got more of a light shine on them for the OG 13. The same with the Sunbow animated series. The first miniseries was mainly the second tier Joes. It was the '83 group of Joes. Again, we got Stalker, we got Snake Eyes, and we got a Scarlet. But a lot of the other Joes kind of got put by the wayside. So the original leader, Hawk, I didn't really get to know that character that much. But Duke was my leader, and he was a very good leader, and he was a very clean cut, all American. He stood for the flag. He stood for all the things that I stood for, and he was kind of like a father figure to me, Duke Hauser. So that's my number 10 character, favorite character. I've always loved Duke. So we're going to put him back in his package. All right. So we're going to line these up over here. So I'm going to put all these guys down here out of the way. And when we get to that vote, I will pull them back out. All right. So we're going to put Duke right here, number 10. There. So my next number 9 is the first, I call her the first lady of GI Joe, and that is Scarlet. Scarlet was an Irish descent character, and I'm very Irish descent in my family, and she was a no nonsense, no take no prisoners type of character from the OG 13. In the Sunbow cartoon, she stood up to Duke. She was in that Sky Striker at the time, the Sky Striker, and they did her in the HasLab as a character in the Sky Striker outfit. But she was the type of woman that I always thought was awesome. She's a redhead, and I really, really find redheads very beautiful. And she's Irish, and she stood up to a lot of the main Joes. And depending upon what continuity you were fond of, Sunbow or the comics, she was either with Snake Eyes or with Duke, which is very funny that she was with both of those two characters. And I also wanted to showcase this little fun ponytail that I got to put on her vintage figure, because the vintage figure never had that. But I got that. A friend of mine did some 3D sculpted ponytails to do as like a backpack. It's like a little backpack, and it attaches to her hair, and it looks like she has a ponytail. So I don't know if you guys ever saw that or not, but it's really cool. Now my vintage figure is a little rough. She's got a little bit of paint chips on her. Her crotch is missing a little, is broken, so she's not in the best shape. So I'm going to put Scarlet over here next to Duke. So she is my number 9 favorite character. So then my next favorite character is a character, because of where I grew up and the environment that I grew up in. It was very likely that I was going to like a particular environment character, and that was Snowjob, another Irishman from New England. And I played out in the snow in New Hampshire quite a bit all the years that I was living in New Hampshire as a G.I. Joe fan. And Snowjob is one of my all-time favorite characters. And he's one of those characters that leapt off the pegs when I was a child. When I saw him, I was like, who's this guy? He's got red hair. He's all white. He looks like he would fit right in with our New Hampshire environment out in the snow. And I lived out in the country most of the years that I lived in New Hampshire. And so Snowjob is my number 8 favorite character, another 83 character. And you can see where a lot of my characters that I love came from that time frame for Joe related characters. So then we're going to put Snowjob over there. And then number, let's see, that's 10, 9, 8. Number 7 is next. And that is a character that is one of the most unique characters. And you could not help but find this character awesome when you saw him on the pegs as a child. He stood out. He was like a beacon in the G.I. Joe aisles if you saw him. And that was Blowtorch. Look at this guy. He is so bright. He is so awesome. There's so much cool equipment that comes with him. I don't know if they used fire characters that much in the military, but this character was always on all my G.I. Joe missions because he's so cool. Look at how cool that is. Oops. Backpack fell off. There. Blowtorch. Look at that red and yellow. He's like on fire. He's one of my favorite characters. And another 84 character. So you can see where all my favorite characters are coming from. Scarlet is an 82. Duke is an 83. Snowjob's an 83. Blowtorch is an 84. And I have all of his equipment. He's one of those ones that I had to get a complete figure of. So I'm going to put him back in his package. And all the ones that I have all my favorites I have complete, 100% complete. And he has no paint wears on him. He's really in good shape. All right, so then now we'll put him over here. So we got 4. So now we're down to my number 6 favorite character. Now, this is a bit of a cheat. I'm going to go with this character, but it's his Joe version because I like the Joe version better than I like the Cobra version. And it is Storm Shadow version 2 is one of my all-time favorite Joe characters in this disguise. I always thought of Storm Shadow as kind of a ambiguous character. He was trying to find out who killed his grandfather, the Hardmaster, and he was framed for that murder, but he knew he didn't do it, and he was on the run, and he had been trying to figure that out for all those years, and it turned out it was somebody else. So he ended up working for Cobra Commander because he would tell him who was the one that killed his grandfather, and it turned out it was, spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear this secret, tune off. It was Zartan, disguised as Storm Shadow. So there you go. Storm Shadow version 2 is my favorite version of Storm Shadow, and he's awesome, awesome version of Storm Shadow. I love this version with the digital camo and the red backpack and sword and the bow and arrow. It's a really, really cool figure, and this is a complete Storm Shadow version 2, and he's very tight. I try to get all my characters that I really like very tight and solid. So there's Storm Shadow. And so then we're going to go with our number. That was number 6. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So our number 5 character is going to be a bit of a cheat for this character because I have 2 versions of this character because I prefer version 3 of this character over all other versions, but I like the character, and he's my number 5 favorite character, and that is Snake Eyes, the first Commando, Johnny Thunder. Hey, thank you very much for joining the chat, Johnny. You're new to the chat. Are you a subscriber? And if so, thank you very much. We appreciate it. So our number 5 favorite character is Snake Eyes. So I have Commando Snake Eyes here, but I prefer version 3 Snake Eyes. So I pulled out version 3 Snake Eyes as well as version 1 Snake Eyes. It's kind of a cheat. If I can get his Uzi in his hand, I will show him off. Typical when it comes to weapons and accessories, right? With my videos, that I have such a hard time with these. They're well, did we get it? There. All right. I got Snake Eyes version 1, and this is a straight arm Snake Eyes. My Scarlet was also a straight arm figure as well. Just to point that out, my OG13 are all straight arm figures. And so there's your vintage first. You first subbed a few days ago. Thank you, Johnny Thunder. I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. So straight arm Snake Eyes version 1 Commando, and he's very solid. He has all of his equipment. But my favorite version of Snake Eyes is Snake Eyes version 3. And there's a reason why Snake Eyes version 3 is my favorite. You guys probably know, if you've been following this channel for a while, why I like Snake Eyes version 3. I'm going to put Snake Eyes version 1 back into his container there. Version 3, there's a really fun story in the comics with version 3 of Snake Eyes. He gets captured by this group of 3 assassins in the comics, and he ends up turning the table on the 3 assassins, and he ends up taking bits and pieces of each of their costumes, and he compiles their costumes into what is known as Snake Eyes version 3. And that was in the comics. That would have been in the late 90s of the Real American Hero comic by Larry Hama. And so he's got a cool backpack that you can put his sword on there as a little thing on the side there. So we're going to put that on him there. There. We're going to put his sword in there. They put that little thing in there for the sword. So we're going to put the sword on there. There. So there's the backpack and there's the sword. There. What figure? I didn't put any on the floor. I put the Street Fighters because we're having a vote. So everybody in the chat, if you want to, which figure you want to open up, we're going to choose between one of these 4 Street Fighters to open up at the end of this video. One is Chun-Li. One is Ken. one is Fei Long, and one is M Bison. So everybody in the chat, if if you want me to open up one of these Street Fighters, which one you would like out of those four, pick, put it in the chat. I will go through and I will count who you guys have picked, and that's the figure we're gonna open at the very end of this video. For this special video. So pick one of those four characters and then we will open it at the end. I have not put anybody down. I have Snake Eyes version 1 there, but I'm going through Snake Eyes version 3 right now. So there's that. And then let's see. And then he has this little doodad, this little weird looking, like nunchuck looking thing. So there you go. There's your Snake Eyes version 3. Now this one's a little bit loose, but he's a really cool one. So I got an M Bison, I got two M Bisons, I got a Ken. Oh no, Ken is the red one. Is that Ken or is that M Bison, Clement? So there's number 5, Snake Eyes. So I did a bit of a cheat on Snake Eyes. All right. So hopefully you guys won't kill me on that one. So there's Snake Eyes and Snake Eyes there. So then number 4 of my top 10 is a character that I've talked about recently when we opened his classified figure up, and that is Chuckles, the coolest researcher, kind of like investigator of the G.I. Joe team. He had a really cool run in Cobra, the comic series by IDW. He's one of the neatest characters. They've done some really good stories with him. Sunbow didn't treat him that respectfully in Sunbow because he just grunted and he threw big missiles in Sunbow. But the comics really give him a lot of respect, and the classified team also gave him a lot of respect with their classified release, and he's an awesome character. And I'm going to be writing a Chuckles story. I can't really go into it right now, but when that gets closer I will let you guys know. I will be doing a Chuckles story someplace, and we'll get into that later. So that's number 4. And then you guys know very well, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, that my favorite vehicle driver and favorite vehicle is the Havoc. And here's the Havoc, my mint in box Havoc. It's not been opened. It's sealed contents. It's in rough shape. It's not, the box isn't mint, but sealed contents, everything's intact. But I pulled my other cross country out so I can show this figure. And this is one of those HasLabs that was part of the vote. The HasLab vote a while ago, and one of the vehicles that they wanted to know if people would like to see. And I want to see it because I love cross country. Chuckles rocks. Can't wait for a new sculpt Super 7 version. Yeah, I think Johnny Thunder, we're gonna probably get the white shirt movie version of him, because I do believe Brian Flynn has told me that that is coming. There's going to be another wave of movie figures, and Chuckles in the white shirt is going to be in that batch. So there you go. Woody, cool item. Yep. Havoc is one of the awesomest vehicles in the G.I. Joe line. So there's your cross country. He's the driver. And because that he's the driver of my favorite vehicle, he's my favorite vehicle driver. And so he's got a little bit, this version's got a little bit of paint app. He has the Rebel hat on there from back in the day. He's also got the little Rebel flag on his belt there. So this is a controversial figure. So I'm guessing if they do him, he's definitely gonna have some redecoing, working with the Hasbro team, it's probably one of those ones that are taking their time with, so they can get it right, so they don't get in trouble. Because obviously they try to shy away from political stuff, like they did with the police officer. But Cross Country is a really cool character. He was very cool in the Sunbow, and he was really cool in the comics as well. So that's my number 3 favorite character. And let's see. My number 2 favorite character, Bobby World. I wonder if they are going to treat him like that legacy officer, just on the down low, selling it. Well, I think that's going to be a different story, because I think it's going to be a HasLab. So he's going to be in the HasLab. So he'll be behind a paywall. So I think the way that they're going to treat that is, well, okay, we're not putting this out there. People are paying for this. They want this. So that's how they're going to kind of treat it. That's just my 2 cents on it. Maybe they'll do something different when the time comes. I don't know. But we'll just have to wait and see. It's one of those weird things. It's a mystery until we get to it. But he's an awesome vehicle driver. It's an awesome vehicle, and we need to have it in the line. And he's one of the few figures left for the 82 to 87. We've now got Zap. So we're now down to one less. In that time frame. There was only about 15 figures. Most of them were vehicle drivers in that 15 figures. There's a couple of redecos. There's about 7 redecos. There's a bunch of vehicle drivers. There's only like 2 or 3 regular figures, and Zap was one of those. And Cross Country is also one of those, but he's a vehicle driver. So my next favorite character, we got this character as a Night Force figure, but we did not get him as a regular classified yet. And that is, oops, sorry, Ripcord. Ripcord has always been one of my favorite characters in the G.I. Joe line. He had a really important storyline in the G.I. Joe Real American Hero comics at the time. And so I have always had a soft spot for this character in my fandom. He also is the boyfriend of one of my favorite Joe, like, ancillary characters, Bongo the Balloon Bear. He's the boyfriend of Bongo the Balloon Bear, and he was involved in the story where Cobra ended up creating Cobra Island, and he ended up going on to Cobra Island, and he had to rescue Storm Shadow, and he had a fight with Zartan, and so he was trying to stop Cobra from doing what they were doing on Cobra Island when that storyline came out. And so he has a very big place in my heart as a character that I love a lot because of his Real American Hero time as a figure. So let's see. Oh, I forgot to put his mask on. I'm putting all of his accessories on to showcase what he looks like with all of his accessories. Yeah. And so Ripcord is one of my all-time favorites. So we got the Night Force version in O-Ring when we got the first HasLab Sky Striker, and then we got the Night Force one with the Dragonfly HasLab as well. And so he's a little wobbly. So there's my Ripcord figure with all of his accessories on him. And that is number 2 of my favorite Joe characters of all time. And Now, you guys who have been watching this channel for a while now probably can figure out who my number one favorite character is. And that is Spirit Iron Knife. My favorite Joe character is Spirit Iron Knife. And you can look at the years that a lot of these characters came out. Ripcord is also an 84 character. Spirit's an 84 character. Cross Country is actually an 86 character. Chuckles is an 87 character. Storm Shadow is an 87. Snake Eyes version 2 is an 88. So you can look at all the years. Snake Eyes version 1 is 82. So it's in the early years. You can tell my time frame where I was a kid and where the most things that I love came out. So it was in the early 80s to mid 80s. What's up, fellas? 610 Yo Joe Daddy. Yep, we already went through that one. Someone beat you to it. 610. Thank you for joining us on our 150 subs special episode. Number one character, Spirit Iron Knife. Because of my Native American background and the fact that I was very happy that they put a Native American character in the G.I. Joe line, I was very, very proud to have a Native American character at the time. I don't have his gun, but I do have Spirit. Um, freedom, I mean, not spirit, freedom with him, freedom and spirit. And so it made me very, very proud to have a Native American on the G.I. Joe team. And he's an 84 character. He's one of my all-time favorites, and he's getting a little yellowed from what I can tell of this one. I may have to get me another one. And my freedom's claws have broken, so I'll probably get another one. He's pretty common, Spirit is. And one of the things I didn't have a problem with at the time was the fact that they did a lot of, I guess, stereotypical things with him when he came out. It didn't offend me as much as other people. They did the classified. They changed the classified with the music, the leader of that music group. I'm trying to think of the name of that guy. That was on the Pulse stream, the one of the Pulse streams, and he went on there and he said he was an awesome character and it was cool that they were doing him, but they needed to update him for the classified time frame, and they did, and he looks really cool. I think they did a great job with it. But I never got offended about Spirit back in the day. Spirit Iron Knife was a cool character. He fought Storm Shadow to a standstill twice. And he was always a foe against Storm Shadow in the Sunbow animated. Snake Eyes really didn't fight Storm Shadow that much because the continuity of the Arashai Kage was not part of Sunbow at that point, and it was not part of the toy line. Larry added that to the comics, and that's why the comics have become so synonymous with the Arashai Kage over the decades. And they have added that feud later in other animation with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, but they did not do it in the original Sunbow animated series. All right, so that's my top 10 favorite Joes of all time. What do you guys think? You think this is a cool lineup of Joes? It's an eclectic group of Joes, I'll say that. And it's Joes from 82 to 88, I guess. Most of these are from 82 to 88. So that was my favorite period of G.I. Joe. Cobra has a little bit of a different length for my favorite Cobras. That goes all the ways into the 90s. Favorite Cobras. Great list, Dave. Thank you very much, Sean Jones. I appreciate it. All right, so now next we are going to open up, because this is a classified G.I. Joe New News review. We're going to open up a couple of classified figures in this video. We're going to do 2 figures, and they're 2 figures that are on my top 10. We're going to open them up for the very first time. As you guys know, we have started with 00 Snake Eyes. We're all the ways up to 85. We've done 9 vintage package. We've done a couple odds and ends stuff like the Fortnite and the running variants, but we're going to do 2 vintage package characters, Scarlet and Duke vintage package. So let's get started on these. And we will go into a little of their history first. We're going to go into Duke's history. Let's see. From Dan Klingensmith's series of books. Again, we could not do these reviews without Dan Klingensmith. He's been a big supporter of this channel, allowing us to use his books and inspiring us to talk about the history of G.I. Joe. Creating G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero. This is volume 1. And this is Duke we're going to go into. Let's see. Duke. There you go. There's a lot of different iterations of Duke, a lot of color studies, and he looks pretty much like the figure that we got. And remember, he was a mail away first. So he came out in 83 as a mail away. Let's see. Alternate names, NA, year release 1984, designed by Ron Rudat. Again, Ron Rudat has done most of the G.I. Joes from 82 to 87, and he also did most of the vehicle drivers. Lone Dragon, hey! Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you being here for 150 subs episode. It's my birthday. Did your package come in? No, it has not come in. I was hoping it would today, but it probably won't till Monday. We got a special package that Lone Dragon sent me. We're going to open that up in a video as soon as it gets here, folks. So that gives you a little bit of a enticement to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification to get that next video where that's going to be premiered. I'm going to open that up and showcase that. G.I. Joe, I love. Thank you, Clemens. I love G.I. Joe as well. Woody, have a great rest of the show, Dave. I got to go. I'll definitely catch the replay. All right, Woody, thank you. And I appreciate you joining us in the beginning. And you've been very cool and very nice, very awesome in the chat. I appreciate it. So we're at Duke there. Well, before you go, Woody, who do you want which Street Fighter do you want me to open up? Before you leave, okay? Let me know in the chat. All right, so then let's go into a little bit of what he said about Duke. Given the task of making a heroic type of character, Ron created Duke, giving him slanted pockets similar to uniforms from Vietnam. Ron gave Duke binoculars to have the ability to lead from a distance. So he gave him slanted pockets because it was something from the Vietnam. So he's an old school soldier, and binoculars so he can lead from the distance. So there you go. So that's your Duke Hauser. And we're going to move on to his first figure package. So because he was a mail away, I don't have a picture of that, but wait a minute. Maybe I do. Hold on. I don't think Duke's mail away figure is in here, and also I don't think his. Yeah, they don't have his package. Let me see. Let me see if there's a picture of Duke. No, because he was a mail away. He came in a little plastic bag. So the very first figure of Duke was in as a figure with a package was 84. So that means we are not probably going to have a picture of Duke. No picture of Duke for his first figure, but he did have a 84 figure. Let's see if I can pull that out. Let's see if we can get to 84. All right, 84. Let's see if that's in here. There he is. All right, so they include him with 84. There he is. Vintage package. Even though he first appeared in 83 as a as a mail away. All right, so then his first comic book appearance is number 22. And this is a really cool story. I love the name of this issue. Um, do you guys know who else first appearance was in this issue as well? A couple people had first appearances in this issue. Um, like Chimney Sweepers Come to Dust. Isn't that a cool title for this issue? Do you guys know in the chat who else appeared in G.I. Joe issue Real American Hero 22 for their first issue? Another Major Joe character. Issue 22. There you go. So then let's get into his vintage package. All right. So he has a ton of gear. Obviously, they updated this figure. This is not the version 1 version for Classified or the Tiger Force version. This is a completely new mold and sculpt and everything involved in this. Don Knotts? No, not Don Knotts, Lone Dragon. You're funny, though. The first appearance in issue 22 was Roadblock. Roadblock and Duke appeared together in issue 22. So you can tell he's got a ton of gear, and it looks like they are using some digital art on that AI art. And so that's where we end up with some mistakes, but it's very vintage inspired. You can tell it looks like his vintage package. They just updated some of the equipment and some of the gear on him, but it looks very similar to his vintage package. Duke does. All right, so let's get him out of there, and we will go into our next one after that. I always drop those stands. I don't know why. I'll pick that stand up later. It's because they're on the side of the package. Whenever I open the vintage packages up, they just slide off because they're like on this edge. They just come off every single time. Doesn't matter how many of these I've done over the months. That always falls off. So then let's look at. So we already did Recondo, and now we're doing Duke, and then we're going to do Scarlet on this video. So let's look at his file card and see what it says on his file card. It says Duke Hauser Conrad S. Role: First Sergeant, Primary Specialty Airborne Infantryman, Secondary Specialty Artillery, Small Arms Armorer, Birthplace St. Louis, Missouri. Graduated top of his class at Airborne School. After running 4 different Special Forces schools, he turned down a commission to instead serve as acting first sergeant of G.I. Joe. That is awesome, isn't it? Duke is a really cool character. I know a lot of people have a problem because he's a little too white bread, but I don't know. For my generation, I guess he was that character that I looked up to when I was young. Like I said before, Hawk was not out at the time. So let's get his figure out of here. Apologize for all the racket. Boy, he was in there tight. He was in there pretty tight. All right, so this is much more inspired by the vintage version than the previous one. The first Duke that we got and the running variant of Duke were definitely much more higher, like futuristic, with all the gear and the technology and stuff that was on him. He had a lot of gold and a lot of sci-fi type elements. He had a lot of blue lasers and stuff in his guns and things like that. And so this is definitely more inspired by the vintage, and it's practically a brand new sculpt. Maybe, I don't know, I think the entire body is new because the legs look new, the boots look kind of new a little bit. Definitely the shirt and the chest part is new, and some of the shirt parts on his arms are new as well. And that's definitely a new head sculpt, I believe, as well. Let's see. Yeah, because the head sculpt that he had up there was more of a flat top, and he had a side fade on the side and stuff like that. Whereas this one's much more traditional, old school style hair. He's got a secondary bandolier that he came with as a vintage character. He's got that airborne insignia there on that little deco there. I don't know if you guys can see that. He's got a tampo of the U.S. flag, the UNS United States flag on his arm there. I don't know if that's visible or not. My lighting is not good. I'm going to try to change that lighting out. Hopefully you guys can see that. Hey, Universal Joe Collector. Thanks you for joining us today. This is our 150th subs, and we appreciate you being in the chat. Thank you. So then he has another secondary holster on his right leg and another one on his left ankle sheath there. So his fatigues are definitely the same color as his vintage fatigues, like that drab army color. And these are much more subdued versions of those colors, whereas the vintage ones are a little bit brighter. These are a little bit more subdued. I've noticed with Classified, all their paints, and maybe it has to do with the plastic, I don't know, the paint is a lot more subdued in the designs of Classified figures. He's got a lot of cool elements to him. But it looks just like his vintage figure anyways. So he's got all the same articulation points, the new head rocker. He's got the butterflied shoulders. He's got the double pinned elbows. He's got the double pinned knees. He's got the crotch and the chest articulation, the ab crunch articulation there. He's got the thigh and calf articulation points. He's got, let's see if he's got the secondary. No, he does not have the secondary wrist, but he does have the regular wrist. And he has the secondary ankle and the foot rockers. So he's got almost all the regular points of articulation with the exception of the secondary wrist on this. And he does not have the bendy wrist. I guess he does have the bendy wrist. If you look at that, there's a little bit of bendy part there where he can twist that. So he does have that. So he's only missing one articulation point off of this figure. And so, all right. So he's got a ton of accessories. Let's get into some of these accessories. He's got 2 trays of accessories. He's got this tray that's underneath the main tray, and he's got the tray that the figure was in. So we're going to try and get all these out of here little by little. So there's his binoculars. They talked about his binoculars. There you go. Put that there. And then here's his gun. I didn't show off the vintage figure, so I couldn't show you his gun, but that looks very similar to his vintage gun. And somebody had that. One of the Cobra Troopers had this gun not too long ago, so they are definitely future-proofing the line and getting it. It might have been, I don't know, maybe it was Firefly or somebody. I can't remember. But somebody recently had that gun. All right, so then we're going to put that plastic back there. And we're going to try to see what else we have for accessories. Now, he comes with a backpack. Now, this backpack, we've seen used a bunch of times, but I think this is the first time they've colored it beige. It has a water bottle with the deco of the water tops on it, and it has the green shovel. Very similar to his vintage packaged backpack. So I'm going to put that on him. Get that out of the way because I'm going to have to get it through the secondary and into the back. Let's see if it sticks in there really good. All right. All right. I got that backpack on him. And the backpack's a little darker shade of brown compared to the rest of him or khaki. A darker shade of khaki. So then we have the familiar Sunbow rifle which I think is the first time we got the Sunbow rifle, and it's a drab green with black deco on the handle. That goes to show you that they were definitely doing handles with different color decos and guns with different color deco as well back in the day, because this is what 2023 that this figure came out. I would say 2023, late 2023 maybe. No, maybe early 24. The vintage Duke Scarlet and Recondo, maybe. I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely later in 23 or early 24 when these came out. So they were definitely adding more deco to this stuff. Whereas now there's a complaint that a lot of the accessories do not have a lot of that deco on it, like handles and pistols don't have deco on the handles, and different equipment like the briefcase on Lifeline and stuff like that doesn't have different deco hits on it. So people were complaining about that. I've seen in different videos. All right, so let's see. Then we have his pistol, and that's black there, little teeny pistol. I love the details. A lot of this O-ring, this not O-ring, but this Sunbow rifle's got a lot of detail in it. It is really cool. So we're gonna put that in his holster on his right leg there, and that looks like it's still that laser pistol. So they still kept a little bit of that. And then we have his helmet, and it looks like they must have been doing a little future proofing for other characters, because Duke helmet comes with that visor, which I don't recall if Duke's helmet came with a visor in the vintage line and had the little doodads on the side to put a visor, but I don't recall him coming with that in the vintage pack, the vintage mail away, the first figure. So I'm going to put that on his head there. It's a little crooked, so I'm going to try and straighten it up. There it goes. There you go. And I put his visor like that. And there, so you have Duke with his helmet there, with the visor up. And he's got his binoculars. He's got his gun, his Sunbow rifle. He's got his pistol. He's got his backpack. So let's see, what else do we have? He's got two sets of hands. So the other two hands were gripping hands. So these are fist hands. So he does a lot of fighting, Duke does. He's one of these characters that gets in there and fights. With the name of Duke, you can imagine that he wants to fight a lot and show Cobra who's boss. So he has two fists. Two fist hands. There. Put those over there. And then one more item. He has a knife for that sheath on his ankle. And it has a little bit of brown deco, and it's a little wibbly. You can see it's a little wibbly still. They haven't gotten the solidness of these accessories, but it goes to prove my point on the decos, because this has a little deco gold, brown deco on the handle, silver deco on the knife paint. So it kind of proved that point again on him. So we're going to put that in his holster on his ankle there. And there you go. There's your vintage Duke. Version 1 Duke. So we're going to put this out of the way over here. He looks awesome. I must say, this is the perfect Duke. He's got a lot of deco in that belt. It's a darker green belt. It's got some brown pouches. It's got a little bit of deco on that. His grenade bandolier also has deco on it, different colors. His collar is also green with some deco there. And then on the shovel on the backpack, they have a little bitty saying on there. And my eyes are not good enough to read that. That is so small. So if anybody can read theirs and let me know what it says, I'd appreciate it. So there's your vintage packaged Duke. And we're going to put him over here. See if he stands. See if I can get him to stand up on his own over here. No, he doesn't stand. So I have to get a stand for him. So I'm just going to lay him down right there for now till later. So now we're going to go into vintage Scarlet. Now, again, Scarlet, this is the exact version of Scarlet from the Sunbow animated series and the original comics. Very, very reminiscent of that version of her. She comes with tons of accessories, just like Duke. The artwork is really cool, and you can tell on the artwork here, she has a ponytail, which she did not have as a vintage figure. And I showed you her vintage figure right here. And she never came with a ponytail. Oh, and there's Duke. I forgot I had my Duke. And he did not come with the visor either. So, so she's very cool. I like the artwork, the card artwork, very reminiscent of the Hector Garrido card art. Both Duke and Scarlet's artwork is very reminiscent of Hector Garrido. All right, so let's get into Scarlet. All right. So her, a little bit of background on Scarlet. Again, from Dan Klingsmith's series of books. This is volume 10. Creating G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero by Dan Klingsmith. All right. So we're going to go to Scarlet. And here she is. Scarlet is one of Larry Hama's favorite characters, actually. I've asked him, and he said Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Storm Shadow are some of his favorite characters. She gets 2 pages, by the way. So Dan had a lot of stuff to showcase with Scarlet. Different hair sculpt, packaging, deco options with her. So let's see what Dan had to say about her. Oh, here's a 3rd page. There's a ton more turnarounds and renders for her back there. Lots of cool stuff. So, Scarlet, alternate names, NA, release date 1982 and 83 because of the straight arm and swivel arm effect there. Designed by Ron Rudat. Again, Ron Rudat, 82 to 87, almost every figure, every vehicle driver. Scarlet was the first female for the G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero line, and originally labeled as Master of Stealth Weapons. Wearing a shooting vest, Ron Rudat, senior product designer, designed Scarlet's clothes to be form-fitting to her body and give her a sense of stealth. She would later be labeled as counterintelligence. That's really cool, right? There's also a little bit of history here about Scarlet. It says subject's father and 3 brothers were martial arts instructors. She began her training at age 9 and was awarded her first black belt at age 15. Graduated AIT Fort McClellan, graduated Ranger School, Fort Benning, Special Ed Covert Ops School, Langley Marine Sniper School, Quantico, TDI CITO Exchange, Marine Taekwondo and Symposium, 8 weeks intensive study, qualified expert in M14, M16, M19, 11A1, M79, M34, 1, and some other ones. Remington sniper rifle, MAC-10, crossbow, throwing stars, Garata, and Kabar. Expert from psychological profile, Madge R. Carosella, confident and resilient. I find it remarkable that a person so deadly could still retain a sense of humor. Peer personality assessment, SP4 Graves, Robert W. I gotta admit that I was as leery as the other guys about having a woman on the team, especially one as foxy as her. But after her first mission with us, everything was just copacetic, 15 feet above the LZ, and she was out the Huey on the jump and off the skid, wham into the bush, jumping over fire at the bad guys before the team leader hit the tiger grass. She made her bones the first time out. Confirmed. So there you go. There's a little bit of history of Scarlet for you. And let's see. Sean Jones, I haven't opened any retro carded classified except Beachhead. We're going to be getting to Beachhead very shortly. Very shortly. These are awesome figures. These retro figures are really good. When they make a character that has never been made, it's very awesome because that's their first version of that. So we've gotten let's see, we got we got the original Scarlet, we got the running variant of Scarlet, we got the movie Scarlet. Those, I think, are the only Scarlet. So now this is her fourth figure. So there's her vintage packaged figure right there. And I showcased her vintage figure earlier today as one of my top 10 characters. And then Scarlet made her first appearance in G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero #1. You can see her jumping right there off that cover, like they described in the her declaration there. She was the first one out and onto the LZ, attacking the Cobras. So now we can get into her figure. So let's see what we have here. Scarlet is awesome. She's, to this day, one of my favorite Joes, and I did her in my top 10. You see that? And she deserves that because she's one of the coolest characters. There you go. So now I'm going to make sure I don't lose the stand on Scarlet like I lost the stand on Duke. There it is. Can I get it? All right, so I got her out. I got her with her stand. And then we got all the legal gobbledygook. We'll put that back in there like we did with Duke. Let's see. I'll correct this package a little bit. There we go. All right. So then we have her file card on the back and the cross cell with her, Duke, and Recondo. So let's see. It says Scarlet O'Hara Shauna M. Role, counterintelligence, primary specialty intelligence, secondary specialty classified, birthplace, Atlanta, Georgia. A martial arts expert who started practicing at age 9, Scarlet graduated summa cum laude from 2 Ivy League universities and went on to excel in training courses at all 4 branches of the armed forces. Wow, that's very impressive for Scarlet, I must say. That's why we love her so much and makes her such a cool character. All right, so let's see. I don't know. I can't get to Duke's stand, or I would put him up. So let's try to get Scarlet out first. Okay. Excuse that noise. So here we go. Here's our vintage inspired Scarlet. Now, I'll say this. She has ponytails, but she came without the ponytails. So if you wanted to use her as her vintage inspired, or if you wanted to make her more Sunbow inspired, there are ponytails in here you could add to this figure. And she looks pretty much exactly like her vintage figure. Again, the colors are subdued, so the greens are a little more drab. The beige is a little bit more beige and not as bright. She's got that red pad that's on there. She's got a secondary holster for her, I guess, arrows, which that is new. That was not with the vintage figure. You guys saw the vintage figure, and that was not with the vintage figure. She got a secondary on one right leg. She got another secondary with a knife sheath on her left leg, and she has a little grenade up here on her epaulette there. And she's got the throwing stars like she did in the vintage, and she's got a little hidden gun on the side there. It's probably a pea shooter, one of those pea shooter guns that has one bullet in it. So she is not fooling around. She is loaded for bear. But overall, she looks exactly like her vintage figure, uh, and I love it. I think she's awesome. So let's get her ponytail out. We'll see what she looks like there. And like the Duke, there's two sets of packages. There's this one that was underneath, and it has a ponytail, and it also has um, the Sunbow rifle. And her Sunbow rifle is a little bit different color. It's a darker brown with a drab green, a lighter drab green. So it's a little bit deco differently than the Duke rifle. So we're going to put this on her hair right there. All right. So there, we got her ponytail on. Looks really cool. So it makes sense that she would have that hanging ponytail because she's in action all the time. Now, I don't know about the face print on this. Maybe it's just mine, but her eyes look a little bit weird. It looks like she's got too much makeup on. I don't know how well you guys can see the face on her. I don't particularly care for that face print on that Scarlet. It looks like she's got too much makeup and the eyes are a little bit weird looking. But overall, it looks pretty good. Now, we didn't really get to look at Duke's face print to see how he looked. Duke looks actually very good. Duke's face print looks very, very good there, I must say. Scarlet's a little bit suspect because I think they put too much makeup on her, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's a little too much. She looks like she's going out at night and stuff like that. She has a little deco of a zipper right there, so I guess that's like to put stuff in her jumpsuit. That was not on the vintage one. That little zipper deco. She has a little deco on the secondary belt and her regular belt as well. There, some deco on that, and then she has a little bit of red deco on this sheath, this arrow sheath. So there you go. So we're going to put that over there. And then we're going to get some of her equipment out. So she comes with an M16, traditional M16. It's basically the same color as her other guns with the deco, same color deco, just different guns. So there, and it looks really cool, I must say. So I'll put that there. And then her backpack. Whereas I don't think she came with a backpack originally, but they gave her a backpack this time. There's a lot of really cool detail on that backpack, which I love. So we'll put that on her. We can't put it on her because her hair is in the way. So that's going to be a problem with the hair. I'm going to see if I can get the backpack to go and put the hair like off to the side. Maybe like that. Maybe we can do that. So her hair's off to the side and the backpack's on there as well. Let's see. So, and then she has a second hair piece. That's a straight hair piece there. And then she has two extra fists to go with her hands as well. We can get them out. There's one. Punching hands, because she was also a fighter. She didn't take no prisoners. So again, two fists for her. And then she has a knife, a little knife similar to Duke's. Couple different decos on that, a darker green and a lighter green on that little knife. We'll put that in her sheath on her leg, her left leg here, get that out of the way. There. So that's in there. And then we have her pistol. Like Duke, she has a pistol. This is more of a 45 or a Glock there. It has some deco on that. The top has a darker color and the bottom is a lighter color. So they added some deco on that. Let's see. She does not have a holster for that. So I'm going to just put that over to the side. So right now, Duke and Scarlet both, neither of them can get all their accessories on them. Let's see. Then we have Scarlet's crossbow. So we have the gun part, and then we have the arrow part. So we have the arrow part there, and then we have the gun part. Let's see if we can get that put in there. Right. So you put them both together, and you have that, her crossbow. Put that there. And then she has 4 arrows. 1, 2, and they're all slightly different arrows. I'll say that. No, actually they aren't. Well, they kind of are. They all kind of have little different tips on them. So that's all of our accessories. So we're going to put that over there like we did with Duke's. So this one has an arrow and the feather like that on there. There, arrow and feather, right? And then this one has like a little grappling thing on there. You see that little grappling part that's on the end there? And a little bit of a different end to it. So that's a different arrow. And then these ones are the same as the other ones. These both are the same arrows. So we're going to put these, most of these arrows in her sheath here. Since that's why she has the sheath over here, we're going to stick these arrows in there. See how that goes in there. 1, 2, and 3. So that arrow quiver, this is a new part that was never on the original O-ring or the original classified figure. So can you see those arrows all in there? Yep. All right, so we're going to try to put the last arrow on the gun here and see if it will hold on there without falling off. All right, we got it on there, kind of. All right, we're going to try to put this on her hand because we had a hard time with her running variant and her other one with these staying on her. And I think even the movie one, I had a hard time with it. They redesigned this so it would stay on better, but doesn't look like it's working again. All right, so there's Scarlet with her crossbow. There. I'm going to put her pistol in her other hand. And I'm going to leave her rifles off. there. So I gave her her rifle, her backpack, her arrows, and her crossbow. So she looks awesome. Really, really nice figure overall. I don't like it when the accessories can't go on there, but there are little doodads on the side of the figure, the backpack. So maybe there's a place to plug the guns into the backpack. Let me try that and see how that works. I'm going to put her down there. There's these little things on the side of the backpack on both sides. So she's got two guns. I'm going to see if there's a place where she can hang these guns, if they'll go in these plugged spots, or if they go someplace else. Well, that one goes in there, kind of. And then she's got her other gun. Um, maybe Duke has one of those as well. We'll have to wait and we'll have to look at that. I don't think this is going to work because it's going to interfere with her back. So I have to turn it that way. And then we also have the hair as well. So I don't know. We'll see. But there's two pegs for two guns on there. If I can get that on her back, then that'll be a miracle. I'll be glad, but like I said, it'll be a miracle. Well, miracles do happen, and there you go. There's Scarlet with her two rifle, all of her gear. The only parts that she doesn't have on there are her extra hands and her extra hair. So I'm going to put her on her stand. Let's see if we can get her onto the stand without falling off, all this equipment falling off. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? All right, so I think I got her on her stand with all of her gear. Now, like Duke, she has the head rocker articulation. She has the butterflied shoulders. She got the double pin elbows, double pin knees. She's got the calf. She's got the thigh. She's got the ab crunch. She's got the normal articulation in the waist, in the crotch. She's got the double, she does not have the double ankles. She's got the foot rockers. She's only got the hand articulation. She does not have the secondary hand articulation. So there you go on that. She's missing 2 or 3 of the articulation points. But a lot of the female figures are a lot harder to get all those articulation points on. I've noticed when they've done other figures like Cobra, female Cobra Troopers and Cobra Ninja females and things like that. So let's see if I can get my stand. I can't really get my stand for Duke. I'm going to try to stand Duke up here next to Scarlet without too much trouble. I don't know if he'll stay. Nope. Cannot get him to stand up without his stand. Let's see. Maybe I should change swap spots. I think it's because his backpack is too heavy. There, I got it. There's your vintage Scarlet and your vintage Duke. Both of them are really cool. There's a lot of really cool elements with each of them. There's Duke. Took a dive there. But I caught him. So we'll just lay him back down there till we get his stand. So yeah, there's no extra peg for Duke. So maybe I can just get this gun in his hand, put this other gun in his hand here, and then he'll have most of his accessories on him with the exception of his two hands. So then that's all that will be left off of both of these figures will be their extra hands and Scarlet with her extra hair piece. So there you go. Everybody's together. All right. So, okay. So we're going to get back to our vote. So we've done Duke and Scarlet. We did our top 10. We did a bunch of other stuff at the beginning of this. Now we're going to get back to our vote to find out which Street Fighter figure you guys would like to open up today. Chun-Li. We already have 2 votes for M. Bison, and then we have a vote for the red guy. I don't know if this is the red guy. Ken is that the red guy you were talking about earlier? Or Fei Long, or M. Bison. All right. Let me know in the chat which guy you want me to open up next, and I will do that. That'll be our next item. So then, what else? So then I asked you guys if you wanted me to pull something from my collection that you would like me to review or open up. I've asked that in a bunch of videos prior to this to get you guys prepared. Is there something that you guys would love me to pull out of my collection? I have most everything that you can imagine. I can either pull it out and show it off and talk about it, or I can pull it out of the package depending upon what it is, because all my vintage stuff is already open. I would just have to go and pull it off the shelf and bring it over and talk about it and stuff like that and show it off. But most of my vintage collection is in package. The only reason why this isn't is because it's my favorite vehicle and I wanted a mint in packaged version of it. It's mint in pack, but the box is not mint. The box is a little beat up, but everything's sealed. Everything's sealed contents, and the box is packed, sealed as well. I do have another Havoc that's open. That's why I have that other cross country that's open over here. So what do you guys want to do? Which Street Fighter do you want me to do? And what item do you want me to pick out of my collection to open and review for you guys? It's up to you. It's up to the chat here. So you guys let me know. Nothing? No votes for anybody? There's a lot of you guys in the chat. Surprised you guys aren't commenting. So we got 1 vote for the red guy and 2 votes for M. Bison. So if we put the red guy as M. Bison, we could do M. Bison. All right. So that's what we're going to go with. We're going to go with M. Bison. What are the options? Hey, Legos War Kid. Thanks for joining us again for a 150th sub episode special. So we got 4 Street Fighters. We got M. Bison. We got Chun-Li. We got Ken. Or Fei Long. So one of these 4 figures I'm going to open up today. I'm letting you guys pick which one it is in the chat. It's up to you. We got 2 votes for M. Bison. We got a vote for the red guy. I don't know if that's Ken or not. So I was about to open up M. Bison. You said M. Bison as well. All right. So that's what we're going to go with. We're going to go with M. Bison. We got 3 votes for M. Bison. And so that's what we're going to go with. M. Bison. So we did Ryu with 100 subs. Now we're doing M. Bison with 150 subs. And then when we get to our 200 episodes, we'll do another Street Fighter. I will open up probably Ken most likely will be the next one that we open up with the 200. All right, so this is the first time we're opening all these figures up. Similar to the classified line, we have never opened any of these up. We have been waiting to do them during special occasions with you guys to get you involved. Street Fighter is tangentially connected to G.I. Joe. There's been lots of G.I. Joe Street Fighter comic book crossovers over the years. The toy line was the original toy line was part of the original O-ring G.I. Joe line in the 90s, the mid 90s, like 80, 93, 94. And so Street Fighter, in my opinion, is connected to G.I. Joe. And it always will be. And I think that Jada, the people that are doing this line of toys, have been doing an excellent job with this line of toys. They have been phenomenal. These packages are such cool packages. They're like video consoles, a little video console like from the 90s. And then on the back, you have the cross cell of the character, and you have all the opponents. So you can pick to the different opponents to fight. And there's some beautiful animation on the side there. Beautiful. And some on this side as well. And this is the Street Fighter 2 theme. So I'm only collecting the Street Fighter 2 theme. I'm not going to collect any of the other themes. So I've got about 10 or so Street Fighter figures that are waiting to be opened. I'm doing them only during my series of videos, anniversary special episodes like this. So this is our second one that we're opening. So thank you very much, chat, for picking M. Bison. He's a cool villain. Raul Julia played him in the movie, the 90s. The movie was a little bit weird, but I think Raul Julia did a very good job playing M. Bison in the movie. And so they're doing a new Street Fighter movie coming out soon, which is going to be awesome. So let's see. All right, so this is a little bit trickier than classified figures because there's a lot more plastic to get through. All right, so there we go. And one of the cool things about these figures is that they have really cool dioramas in the background from the video game as well. So we'll put that over there. So you can see that cool background there, that bell background there, like the video game. These are all different backdrops from the video game, which are really cool. And there's like little people off to the side watching the fights, which is cool. Then we have the indicia, and it gives you a little bit of information about the figure and how to attach some of the accessories, stuff like that. So we'll put that back in there. And we'll put that back over here temporarily. And we'll get that out of the way. And then we will go into M. Bison. All right, so he's a big, chunky guy, isn't he? Let's see if we can get him out of here. He comes with a cloth goods kind of cape. It has some adjustable ability to it. And there. So then we have, let's see. So his cape is adjustable. It has like a little bendy wire inside of it, so you can have it flow and do all the maneuvers that he does. Um, he's got a really cool looking face.
Shao Lao is mine, and you cannot do anything about it. I will rule the world. I am M. Bison.
Really cool looking. He's got a lot of really cool armor, very chunky armor on him, and his cape adjustments come off, and he has his hat. Um, a lot of neat deco on him with blues and golds and blacks, uh, white in those eyes that make him look really menacing. Um, he's got two sets of fists. Let's get into some of his accessories. Put him right over here. And I did a comparison to Street Fighter a while ago with the classified. They very much are very, very close to one another in scale. So that's another reason why I got these Street Fighters, because they are very cool in scale with G.I. Joe. And you could probably do some fights with them, with Street Fighter and G.I. Joe, and crossovers like they did in the toys. Well, he doesn't want to stay up. So I'm going to put him right there for now. He's got, well, let's see. Actually, let's go back over some of this. He's got the chest, the ab crunch there. He's got the waist articulation. He's got the thigh, the thigh and calf articulation. He's got the butterfly shoulders. He's got the double pinned elbows, double pinned knees. He's got the foot rocker. He does not have the ankle articulation. He does have the wrist articulation. And he's got the head rocker. So he's got most of the articulation that the classified has. He's also got the crotch articulation there. So he's very similar to classified in most respects for the articulation. So then let's look at some of his accessories. He's got a secondary head, an angry head, because that other head was more straightforward, but this is an angry face. Look at how angry he is in that. Looks really cool. Teeth are grinning. He's got another set of hands, a gripping set of hands, because they had the fists on him, but he also has gripping hands. Two gripping hands. So he can do his different maneuvers, different karate maneuvers, martial arts maneuvers. There. And then he has a fireball. Comes with this cool fireball for his fist. Purple, which is very cool. And then he has two more shoulder pauldrons. So if you want to take the cape off, you can attach these two shoulder pauldrons to his shoulders after you take them out, right? Or take the cape off, whichever. So that is the package for him. So we'll put that down here out of the way. So let's see. I have my, I'm going to put Duke over here for the time being. And I'm going to put Scarlet over here for the time being. And then I have my, let's see, my Ryu. My Ryu is here, there, and now we have M. Bison. I want to see if I can get him to stand up without too much trouble. Can't really get M. Bison to stand up. Similar to that Duke, he's too heavy. Yeah. So I'll have to wait till I put him on a stand. But He looks really cool. He's got a little bit of deco eagle on the head there. He's also got a little deco on the cape on those little gold things there. But I like him. Once I get a stand on him, or I get a little thing where he can do his flying punch or whatever, I'll get that set up and I'll show it in another video down the road. But I can't. He doesn't want to stay. He's like the Duke. He's too heavy. He doesn't want to stay up. Let me see if I can put some of his accessories on him, like this fireball. There, he got his fireball on there. They look really cool. I like these Street Fighters a lot. Let's see. He has the Shao Lao symbol there on his belt buckle as well. Okay. All right. So we did that. We did our vote for our Street Fighter figure. We did our top 10. We did 2 classified figures in this video. So now, is there anything else you guys would like me to pull out of my collection to review or go over and talk about before we get this video out of the way? Or I can pick something out of my collection myself that I think you guys might like to look at that might be kind of cool. If you guys don't pick something in the chat, because this is for you. This episode is because of the chat and all the fans on the channel. For you guys, we're doing this. All right, so since I haven't gotten anybody to comment on what they want, I'm going to go pick something from my collection, and I'm going to bring it out, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to put Ryu over here next to Scarlet. Yeah. And we have all these extra accessories. And we'll put M. Bison over here, since we don't have a stand on him yet. All right, here I go. I'm going to pick out something from my collection for you guys to go over for this video, because I promised I was going to do that. And I'm going to go get something right now from my collection. All right, here we go. Here's an item I pulled out of my collection off the shelf. It is the Night Force Whale. And it is awesome piece. One of the most expensive pieces I've ever spent money on. Cost me $500 for this. And it was not 100% complete when I bought it, but it was very close to 100%. I had to get some of these little doodads there. And so the propellers, I have to put them on the propellers. So I had to get a 3D printed propeller put on there for the back. But it does have everything. It's 100% complete. I only had to 3D print one item to complete it. But it was 100% complete pretty much when I got it. And then there's the little motorcycle all in pieces. Hasn't been put back together yet. And then we have some propellers and some of the barrels that are shot out from the inside there. And then we have I don't know what that is. Another bag. And then we have somebody's helmet. I didn't know I had all this stuff in here. We have a helmet. I don't know whose helmet that is, but it's kind of cool. Little bitty green helmet in there. I don't know who it belongs to, but it's kind of cool. So then everything works. All the stuff works. All the glow stickers work. 3D glowing parts. That's the cool thing about Night Force is back in the day in the 80s, all these stickers and stuff that's on there, all those glowing parts, they all glow in the dark and they all work. And then we have this little thing here where the sled works there. Let's see if there's anything else in here. No. Oh yeah, there's something else. Oh, there's a little glass piece in there. I don't know what that goes to. Oh, it goes to the sled. All right. So never mind. That goes to the sled. So and there's a lot of storage with this too. So I know if Classified ever gets to the point that they can do a whale, Hasbro likes the fact that this stuff you can store figures in there. There's some storage capabilities with this. So we'll put this back in there. There. Close that. This opens up. And you could put this on the beach and all these seats and stuff like that, figures can go into and stand in there. And then there's 2 gun turrets for it as well. Then this is the little contraption that ejects the little boat. Then there's 2 missile launchers on either side. And there's a little thing that makes the propellers move there, but it's not obviously attached because it's loose. But I think if we ever get to the point where we can get a Night Force or a regular whale, that's going to be incredible. But this is one of my prized possessions of my collection because it's the most expensive thing I've ever spent money on in my collection. I once had a mint and box regular whale. Everything was still in the bags. Yep, that's called sealed contents, mint in box. And that would be worth probably near $1,000 now. It's $750 to $950, somewhere in that range, depending on the condition of the box and the condition of like the tape on the box and things like that. Lego Star Wars kid. That's the whale is one of the grails, I would say, G.I. Joe grails. And if the whale is a G.I. Joe grail, you can only imagine what a Night Force whale is. I got a decent price for my $500, I must say, and that was a lot of money. Like I said, it was the most expensive item I ever purchased, and I bought things a lot bigger, a lot like bigger scale, and a lot more important in the line, cheaper than this whale. But that goes to show you the enormity of the rarity of Night Force and how expensive Night Force gets. Now I have every figure, every vehicle, all the air variations, all the accessories, most of the weird stuff that comes with the O-ring line from 82 to 94. I'm only missing 2 vehicles, and they're both Night Force vehicles because they're so expensive. Both of the items that I need are like $1,000, and I just haven't had the money to get them. Unless I can do a good deal like I did with this, get this at a decent price from somebody. I got $500 off of this, and it was 99.9% complete. Only one propeller thing was missing, and I had that 3D printed. So it's not 100%. And it's like, that's how I do my collecting, as I'll get it the best I can possibly get it in the condition that it is, just to add to my collection, but it's not 100% sometimes. A lot of my collection's not 100%. I'm missing accessories and figures. I'm missing bits and pieces of some vehicles here and there, but I do it because of the affordability of it all. And this, if I tried to get this, for Anything less than that, I would never get it. So I had to get it for that price because it was a grail. It was one of the grails. But so there's your Night Force whale. I hope you guys enjoyed this view. Night Force appeared in. I don't think it was in Sunbow, and I don't think it was in. It's they're kind of using Night Force in the comics right now in Skybound, but I don't think as a faction of G.I. Joe it really appeared anyplace. No, I do not have any of the Night Force boxes. For Jacob Benison, you're new in the chat. Thank you for joining us for our 150th subs special. But no, I do not have any Night Force boxes. I have boxes, but I don't have Night Force boxes. Sorry. So there you go. And the possibility of us getting this is going to be like slim to none, I think. I don't know. Just have to wait and see. A whale. I would love to get a whale, but if you look at the scale of this, you look at the scale of this screen and how big this vehicle is. Oops, there goes my thing. If you look at the scale of this and you see how big it is, you'll know that the ability to get a HasLab scale version of this is going to be very, very difficult. Very difficult. I don't know. Because it is so huge. This is not a small vehicle. It is not. It is huge. Look at how big this thing is. Imagine this scaled up to classified. I wouldn't have room in this video to fit it. It'd be too huge. Lego Star Wars Kid. If we get the hydrofoil next HasLab 2026, I think they will have to do the whale for 2027. Well, the thing about the whale is I don't think that's going to be 2027. I think if they do the hydrofoil, which I think it is going to be the hydrofoil, I would love my Havoc. I would love my classified Havoc, because that was one of the two vehicles that was left over in that poll, the tank, the Havoc, and the hydrofoil. If they do the hydrofoil for 2026, and the 2026 line plan is water-based vehicles and stuff like that, and we start getting the Shark, the Water Moccasin as a vintage package with Copperhead, we get the Nightlander, we get the Devil's Fish, I think we're going to get the Battle Tactical Platform. I think it's a much more doable play set, and because they did the Snowcat as a play set type thought process with the Hasbro team, it was a play set. They did the bivouac, they did all that cooking and camping and extra stuff that comes out of it, and they built in the storage ability of troops and the bivouac and all that other stuff. It was geared as a play set. I think that's what we're going to get. That's my 2 cents. You're welcome to disagree with me, but imagine trying to get a battle tactical platform that can fold up and be put on a shelf, and you can take it out, put it in the water, put it on the beach, whatever. You have a helipad for the Dragonfly. You have a big computer room for Joe's computer guys. You got the winch for the Devilfish. You got a ramp for the beach and doing other stuff like putting other vehicles on that ramp that could go on there as well. You have different gun turrets with different stations for troops to fire and stuff like that. Just looking at the comics from the way that they used it in the Real American Hero comics, that thing was way bigger than the toy made it out to be. The one in the comics was much larger, and I think that's a much more modular playset that can fold up. You can put stuff together, and it could fit on a shelf. The whale, you can't fit that on a shelf. There's no way to make that modular and compact that. There's no way. The hydrofoil, yes, because it's long. Yeah, it's still going to be a little thick like this, similar to the Snowcat, but it's long, and I think you could fit in a shelf cubby. That's the way they're thinking of this stuff. That's how they're looking at all this stuff. So the whale, it'd be twice the size of a shelf. Twice the size to get a whale. It'd be like this big. It'd be bigger than my screen in order to get it properly. I just don't see it. And if we do get it, it's going to be like $650. It's going to be absolutely expensive, astronomically expensive. I think we can still stay in the range of the $350 range like we did with the Rattler and the Snowcat, with the battle tactical platform and the hydrofoil. And so that's my thought process on it. You're welcome to feel the way you feel and do whatever you think is best for you when it comes time for those HasLabs. But I think that's going to be your best bet for a water themed thing. And you can have the hydrofoil fighting the battle tactical platform. You can have it fighting the devilfishes. You can have the sharks. You can have hydrofoils out there in the ocean with the hydrofoil. You can have them doing sneak attacks on Cobra Island with the night landing. You can have the dragonfly land and sit on that helipad and have steps going down to that computer console room with all kinds of stuff. You can have weapon racks. You can have equipment bays. It makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody else. Battle platform sounds great, but I think the whale is more iconic and popular. Yes, I will agree with you there. It is more popular, and maybe just as iconic as the battle tactical platform. And they have been doing things that they will get more use out of those molds. We're getting the perfect example of that with the Hiss. The Arctic Snow Assault Hiss is the perfect example of that. So every vehicle that I've seen them do, if you go back through the line, the last 40 years of A Real American Hero, every vehicle that they've released in classified is a vehicle that they're going to get multiple uses out of the mold. The Vamp, the Stinger, the Hiss, the Dragonfly, the Rattler, the Snowcat, the Awstriker, the MMS, the Ferret, the Ram, all this stuff. Every one of these items, even the Cobra Snake Armor, there's 3 or 4 versions of that over the years, different colors. The Claw, I've only seen one Claw, but the Claw they did was awesome. Maybe they might do a different Claw. I don't know. Joe Claw, who knows? It's possible. But almost every vehicle they've done for the classified line is a vehicle they've reused in the past. There's been dozens of Hisses, dozens of Sharks. Well, Shark hasn't been done yet, but I know they're going to do a Shark. There's been dozens of Vamps and Stingers. There's been a whole bunch of different Rattlers and Dragonflies, Awstrikers, dozens of variations of the Awstriker. Snowcat, another one, dozen variations of the Snowcat, different colors, different environments. So all those vehicles were intelligently planned because of the reuse of those molds. They want to get their money's worth out of these molds. Which vehicles have the most molds? And to your point, The hydrofoil is another vehicle. There's 4 or 5 variations of the hydrofoil over the years. Some really cool color variations: blue, green, army drab green. I think there might even be a python one that was done through the club. I'm not 100% sure, but there's been a few hydrofoils over the years as well. Uh, you'll take a Sky Striker as well. Well, the Sky Striker is another one of those situations where with the whale, if you got this Sky Striker right here, this was the HasLab, the first HasLab they did for O-ring. If you got that as a classified, it's like 7 feet long. They've already measured it, and they've already future proofed it to make it look the right size, because it's got 2 seats. It's a 2-seater for classified. So if they're gonna do a Sky Striker Lego Star Wars kid, it's gonna be different. They're gonna have to go like they did with the 4-inch modern, where it was a different scale and they changed it up and they made it a little different. And they made a different Sky Striker. But they're gonna do the Drummond Sky Striker. It's gonna be 7 feet long. It's gonna be too long. They've already said that. But Jacob Benson, you have the blue one. Isn't that really cool looking? I love that blue one. I love the green one. I don't have either of them, but I would love to get both of them. I've seen them. They go for a little pretty penny for a modern vehicle. I think they're a little high, but the green one's a club one. I think the Python one's a club one. I think the blue one was a modern new sculpt one, if I'm not mistaken, right? But those are awesome looking. They're beautiful. So I think the hydrofoil is going to be our next vehicle. As much as I would love to get the Havoc, because it's my favorite vehicle. And again, the Havoc's going to be, if you look at the width of the Snowcat with a double seater, the Havoc is also a double seater, and it's like a tank. And so it's going to be about this thick, just looking at the cockpit. It's going to be about this thick, and it's going to be about this long. It won't quite be 7 feet. It'll be about probably about 5 feet, with the hovercraft, troop capabilities, and a lot of guns and attachments and places for figures and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a Joe Con one, but Gem. Yep, I thought it was. I thought it might have been. I know the green one was, and the Python one was, but I wasn't sure about the blue one. But thank you very much. So that's another thing is if we get the Havoc, it's going to be very, very big. I think that's the largest scale you can go if you do HasLabs for classified vehicles. I think the Havoc is going to be the largest scale, because if you put a Havoc next to a Snowcat and you saw how big that Snowcat got, the width, the height, and the length, imagine the Havoc next to that. Every single side would be longer, wider, taller. So I think that's the largest vehicle we could get for a classified is the Havoc. So if they're gonna do a Sky Striker, getting back to your point, it's got to be a different Sky Striker. It's got to be like they did in the modern 4-inch, where they changed the Sky Striker. They changed the proportions of it, and they made it a more modern vehicle. And I think if we get a Sky Striker, it's got to be a modern interpretation of the Sky Striker. It's not going to be the Drummond one from the 80s, because, like they said, 7 feet long. They're not going to do it. Can you put a Havoc next to the whale? You want me to go get a Havoc and show it to you in this video and show how wide it is next to the whale? I can do that. I have a Havoc not too far over here. Just give me a second. So here's a Havoc, vintage Havoc. Lego Star Wars Kid. Well, I don't think the Skystriker is that much longer than the Dragonfly. It's gonna be. It is definitely longer than the Dragonfly. A little bit longer, not much longer, but it is longer. Let's see. So I'm gonna put this down here temporarily. I'm gonna get the whale back. This is the Night Force whale. It's an exact. It's an exact duplicate of the vintage whale, but it is the Night Force. So we're going to use this for comparison. All right, so there's the whale, and there's the Havoc next to each other. Now, if you look at it, Havoc is a little bit dwarfed by the whale on the front and the back. And then, let's see, I'm going to try to turn this way. So you got the whale, and then you have the, oops, there goes that thing again. There. So this isn't the best way to show this off because it's at a weird angle, but the whale is basically twice the size of the Havoc. The whale is twice the size of the Havoc, and so if we get the Havoc, you're welcome. If we get the Havoc and we classified this sucker up, it's going to be huge. And the whale is twice the size of this. So that's how big the whale would have to be. That's why I'm saying you're looking at $650 if they try to do the whale. Whereas if they do the battle tactical platform, it could be like this. It could be about as skinny as this in its compact form, but then you fold it out and you layer it and stuff. You make it modular and stuff like that. You could get this on a shelf as a classified vehicle. It would take up an entire cubicle. It would take up an entire cubicle as a classified scale for this and the battle tactical platform and the Moray, but all three. So people are not, they're not using math. They're not using proper measurements. Let's see. But Jem, I agree, 650 minimum. Yep. Most of us would pay whatever. Sean, for a whale, classified whale. Oh man, you'd have to forego a mortgage payment or 3 months worth of car payments to pay for it. But yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, I agree. We will pay. A lot of us buy multiples. Yeah, that's the problem. So that's another problem. Because we buy multiples, trying to buy a $650 whale, you're looking at like that's 12. That's $1,400 for two. It's just so spectacular. It is. I agree. It is. It is spectacular. I got three rattlers. See, I only got two. I'm only getting two. For a whale, I'll just get two. Lego Star Wars kids, you're one of those guys like Woody that has a little bit more extra income and expendable money than most of us people. I get a lot of stuff. You can see by all the stuff that I'm showing in this video, I get a lot of stuff, but I can't afford to get two $650 whales. There's no way. I got two rattlers, two dragonflies, two hisses, two sky strikers, two snowcats, but that is my limit. Oh God, you're Canadian, even worse that you're gonna have to spend $800. Oh my God, I feel bad. I feel so bad. Whatever you're doing up there, you must make some decent cheddar because we can't afford that. There's no way. Uh, one is good for you. Yeah, I think one is good. I'll get one, but I won't be happy. I will not be happy to spend $650 on a toy because I am a completist, so I will get it. I will get everything, but it's incredible, incredible. One of these days, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to bring out a bunch of vehicles to show you guys and do a comparison video from my collection. I'll pull out 5 or 6 vehicles to show you the comparisons for the classified to the vintage, right? I'll show the HasLabs that we've gotten and their vintage counterparts, and I'll show you the vehicles that we want as classified and show you compared to each other how big they are and what the realities are. I don't think people understand the reality of this. They really don't. Uh, Once in a lifetime, there's no doubt about it. It's definitely a once in a lifetime toy. It's like the Jabba's barge. That was what, $650, right? And the Unicron, $650. But people were not willing to spend that much for the mothership, the Cobra mothership from Super 7. I wanted that. I actually put in for that too. So here I am saying I wouldn't get 2 whales, and I've got 2 motherships. So that shows you how stupid I am. A classified Tomahawk would be awesome. Definitely a classified Tomahawk. That is doable, I think. Let's go out with a bang. Well, if you've been watching these videos, I've done a layout of where I think classified HasLabs might be. And since Star Wars Black Series is up to 10 years or 15 years, I think the minimum G.I. Joe classified could go 15 years. We're 5 years in now, and you see what this year has been, an incredible year. Imagine 10 more years and all those classified HasLabs. I've laid out a bunch of them in this video already, but I'll give you a couple more. Tomahawk. Absolutely love that. But that's another play set. The way that you have to look at these things is a playability. So because the Tomahawk's going to have those ropes that you can hang down, it's going to have attachments for medical beds and lifeline. It's going to have different guns that are going to be in the interior. It's going to have a detachment thing that's going to roll down. You can put a vehicle in there, minimum a ferret-sized vehicle, maybe an Ostriker. It's going to be able to fit 2 or 4 figures in the top, in the front. It's the double size of the Dragonfly. So that's another Moray size or Havoc size or Battle Tactical Platform size. But I think it's doable, and it's going to be a playset vehicle that's going to have a lot of extra stuff to it. But I think it is doable. Lights. Yep, lights for the bottom to shine down, lights for the front of it when it's going flying at night. Lights, yeah, let's go out with a bang. Yeah. What does that say? Strato Fortress? What's a Strato Fortress, Lego Star Wars World? I think we might we could get the Mamba. We could get the what else? A tank. a modular tank. I've already talked about this. The Mobat, the Mauler, with a bunch of turrets that are detachable from different tanks in order to get your bridge layer, your Wolverine, your Lynx, your Mobat, your Mauler, all these different detachable turrets with different armaments, camouflage, khaki, and green, drab green armor detachments that could go on it, and then two seats for two drivers. You can get another Steeler. You can get another of the other driver. I can never think of his name. Heavy something or other. And you could get some other cool characters with that as a tank HasLab. So let's see. What do we have? We got a tank. We got a Sky Striker. We got Havoc. We got the battle tactical platform. We got the Mare. We got the Mamba. We got the Tomahawk. We have the what's the vehicle that splits open and has the guns? It's got the big wheels. I can't think of it off the top of my Heavy Metal. Yeah. No way. No way on the Rolling Thunder. There's no way we're getting that. No, sorry. Night Raven, possibly. Night Raven's on that scale, really far scale, but I think it's doable because it's something that could be put together. You'd have to make it where it's separate, and you could possibly do it. I'm not going to count out the Night Raven, but I think it is doable. Stun. That's right, the Stun as a HasLab, because it's a fairly chunky vehicle when you look at it. Imagine this classified scale. It's going to be bigger. The Mauler is going to be part of my Mobat tank modular thing that I talked about. So you use the turret. You do turrets for all these tanks. The Wolverine turret, the Bridge Layer turret, the Mauler turret, the Mobat turret, and the Lynx turret. And you do armaments. Beige, khaki beige armor, camouflaged armor for the Lynx, and then drab green armor. And that's the only way you're getting a tank. If you do a tank, it's got to be modular like the Hiss, and it's going to have two seats for two drivers. You think the Stun is too small for a HasLab? Have you seen a Stun? Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can pull my Stun out. It's right over here. Let's see. No. No. I don't have my Stun where I can get to it. The Stun's a very large vehicle for vintage, and you have to classify that up, and it's big. Stun too small for the HasLab. Okay. I want the MTO Mean Dog could be sold as 3 releases. Maybe. I've been trying to get Hasbro to do the little robot drones, because they did that really cool drone thing with scrap iron, but they haven't done that. And that would be 3 different releases. You can stick them together and connect it, right? Like that. And the same thing with the Maggot. Would they do the Maggot as classified? It would have to be released in 3 different parts. So all 3 of those things are modular vehicles. Would they do them? Have there been a lot of variations of those vehicles? Not to my knowledge. There's been a couple of Maggots. There's been a couple of the little droids. But that, the MTM Mean Dog, there has not been, to my knowledge. And they're going to want to reuse those molds. That's the key. Reusing the molds, fitting it on a shelf. Those are the 2 main criteria. And then the iconization of the vehicle itself. Those are your 3 criteria the Hasbro team looks at when it comes to HasLab vehicles. Yeah, it's like a Stinger. Made to order as well. You think so? Made to order. Yeah, the Pack Rats. I would love to get Pack Rats. That's just me. I just think they're cool. And they can reuse some of the parts from Scrap Iron's little thing that he had. That whole thing that they have, the bottom part and the attachment part, they would just have to have different tops. And you could use some of the missile turrets that are with the Ostrich, the Vamp, the Stinger, and make them the different Pack Rats. parts of maybe the MMS or the HMS. That's how I would do pack rats if they did it. And they've done several sets of pack rats. But yeah, it could be one of the pre-orderable ones, like the Thunder Machine. That's how I know we're going to get the Thunder Machine. I'd be willing to bet you that's how it's going to be. If they do the Thunder Machine as a HasLab, they better make sure they also include like a set of motorcycles, 3 motorcycles, and a bunch of extra stuff to make that really Mad Max out with that. And then Thunder Machine and that weird guy that was on the package of the Thunder Machine box that was supposed to be Monkey Wrench, but it wasn't Monkey Wrench. It was some other guy. They need to give that guy and Thrasher in that if they do the Thunder Machine as a HasLab. I would be kind of shocked if they did that as a HasLab. I think it's going to be a pre-orderable. But now, knowing that we're getting the Hiss, there's a lot of pre-orderable stuff out there. If we get another Stun, then okay, we got the Stun, we got the Thunder Machine, we got the Septic Tank, we're gonna have the Tiger Fly, the Tiger Rat, the Tiger Cat, we're gonna have the Vamp Mark II, the Ground Assault Dreadnought Vamp or Stinger, whichever you want to call it. So there you go. That's a lot of stuff that is in that $100 pre-orderable range, from $100 to $150 range. So just be patient. We're probably going to get all those things. Made to order Thunder Machine, absolutely, definitely, yeah, definitely. So it's just a matter of how they do it. Do you think we'll get both of those figures, Thrasher and that weird guy that was in the box, the guy that was supposed to be Monkey Wrench, but it wasn't Monkey Wrench? Do you think they'll give us that Dreadnought with him? Give us 2 figures with that? That'll push that over the 100 mark, and if it becomes pre-orderable, then it's got to have a lot more like Mad Max type attachments to make it more modern, futuristic, like they've done with all the other Dreadnoughts. They've made them way more cooler than their vintage versions, and they've added a lot more gear and equipment and stuff like that. So that's how I think the Thunder Machine's going to end up being. Blonde Monkey Wrench. Yeah, that's exactly who he is, but he has a name. I can't think of the guy's name. There is a name in the lore for that character. I can't remember who it is though. Yep, and it's funny, but there is a guy. There is a guy on the package, and it's not Monkey Wrench. Yeah, blonde and blue. That's right. That's exactly right. Blonde and blue. So that would get us another oddball Dreadnought, whoever that guy is. And that would be a new figure because there's never been a figure of that character to my knowledge, but the character does exist. You think just Thrasher would be fine? Okay. Well, that's fine. Lego Star Wars kid. So that's my deep dive into HasLabs. I think we have enough options for 10 more years. So I gave you all the options in this video. Again, I've done this several times, and I'm going to do a video comparing and contrasting some of the vintage figures, vehicles to HasLab vehicles, and showing that realistic comparison, because I don't think people realize what they're getting themselves into. We don't have space now for the classified and the vehicles that we're getting now. Imagine 10 years from now. Holy smokes. The series of classified reviews that I'm doing is because I'm trying to make space so I can get more classified. I am running out of space, and I have more space than the average person, but it's the struggle is real. Hashtag the struggle is real. So there you go again. But I really love all the passion. I love all you guys' thoughts and insights into this. Time will only tell. But we know that poll, there was 3 vehicles left on that poll. We've already gotten, we know we're not going to get the Thunder Machine. We think that's going to be a either a pre-orderable or $100 vehicle, right? So we're going to take that out. We know we're going to probably get the Moray next. If it's Joe Cobra, And they're going to do that water theme as 2026 theme for next. After the snow theme, we're going to get the water theme to go along with the moray. So that leaves us 2 more vehicles on that that voting list that they did to people. They gave to people the option to pick Havoc and a tank. Which one will it be? 2027. Which one will it be? Havoc or tank or something else? And then if we get both the Havoc and then the tank, then where will they do with Cobra? They're gonna have to do. I think they're gonna probably do the Iron Grenadier, big Iron Grenadier vehicle that the despoiler with Iron Grenadier Destro sits on. That would make a good Cobra vehicle, and it would help your faction, your Iron Grenadiers faction, be the front of your Iron Grenadier battle and stuff like that. Happy 150. Thank you, Zazel. You, for some reason, you always end up at the very end of these videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I really appreciate you joining us in the chat and always having positive energy and joining us in this endeavor that we're on right now. Thank you very much. So then possibly that Iron Grenadier vehicle, so the despoiler can go onto it, and you have Iron Grenadiers Destro, and by then we'll have probably another 10 Iron Grenadier troop builders, because we got 4 or 5 right now. So there's a lot more Iron Grenadiers out there in 4-inch modern and vintage that we haven't gotten. So I think we're going to get a lot of Iron Grenadiers. That's another one that is time zone sucks. I know you're coming from Australia, so this has got to be like what, like 4 in the morning for you right now, 3 in the morning. I don't know, but yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you joining. Anyways, half of a Terradrome could be great. Oh, that's another one. Lego Star Wars. You're picking some banger items, but the reality, you got to look at the reality of this. To do a Terradrome, imagine what an O-ring Terradrome looks like. It's huge. I have it over there in a display. It's absolutely huge, like this big, right? Classify that up, half of it, even half of that. It's just too much. It's too much. I love it. I love that enthusiasm, but I don't see it. I just don't see it. If you get 2, you can have a complete Terradrome. You are, oh my God, you're crazy. You're crazy, Lego Star Wars kid. I'm there for it. I'm there. I would love to get it, but I don't see the reality of it. I don't see the reality of it. It is huge. Saw a printed one. You saw a classified half of a Terradrome printed, and how big was it? Was it really big? I bet it was. I've seen stuff, custom stuff at Joe Fest, Joe Con, and other shows. It's too big. It's too big. We're not going to get that. I think if you wanted something cool, a Terradrome size, it would have to be like a playset for the Firebat. You would have to get different figures with wedges, like pie wedges. You would get like maybe 6 pie wedges, right? Each pie wedge would have a different compartment. One would have a weapons bay. One would have a repair bay. One would have a cool laser that comes out of the side. One would have, I don't know, something else. You'd have 3 of these wedges. And on the top, there would be an attachment, right, that you would put together, and the Firebat could go on top of it. So you would have to buy 6 of these, 2 of each. 2 of the one with the repair bay, 2 with the weapons bay, 2 maybe one of them could have a prison. One could have some sort of thing that pops out of it and attacks, right? And they all come together, pizza wedges, and then they have a little thing on each one where it opens like this, like a Jaws type thing, and then there's a little slider that you get when you buy the fire bat, and you put the fire bat inside of it, and then you open it up and the fire bat can come out. So you would have to buy 7 parts to build the Terradrome. That's the most realistic way that I can see them doing a Terradrome playset. And it would be very minimal. The inside wouldn't have anything other than the parts that would pop out, or a prison, or a bay, or whatever, to put a ferret or something inside of it, or whatever. They'd be very minimalistic with some accessories and color deco stuff. But that's how I see them realistically doing a Terradrome HasLab. Let's see. Yes, classified full. It was classified scale, and it was huge. I guess an option to replace a playsets for classified figures could be a F FQ codes or backdrops. Maybe go back to cardboard. Well, that has been bandied about, and I think Hasbro, the Pulse team, has talked about that. The Hasbro GI Joe Classified, they have talked about what we wanted, what we thought would work. But I don't think for the money, especially when figures are going for $27.99 now, and HasLabs are $350 now. I don't think people are going to want to do cardboard for their money. I just don't feel. I think the fan base would rebel, and they would coil against that. As much as I think it's feasible money wise, Zazel, I don't think people would want it. That's just my 2 cents, but I appreciate the comment. I appreciate your input on the subject. Lego Star Wars Kid. How much bigger is it compared to the Thundercats? Oh, well, Super 7's crazy. Super 7 is crazy when it comes to these things. They've done Castle Grayskull, they've done Snake Mountain, they've done the Thundercats lair, right? And they were going to do that Snake, the mothership. So that goes to show you how crazy they are. But did anybody buy the mothership? The Thundercat fan base for Thundercats, there's no way that you were not going to have a Thundercats lair as a Thundercats fan. They had to do that. And the fact of the matter is, they don't do those type of things every year like Classified. And they don't put out as much Thundercats a year as well. So those Thundercat fans had the ability to save up, put their money aside, and get that Thundercats lair. I 100% agree with you. It's absolutely monstrous. And that mothership was going to be monstrous as well. I would not put it past Super 7 to try to put that mothership out again. Brian Flynn, with the interviews, I've done 3 or 4 interviews with him. He has said they're going to wait and see where the line is. And if they feel that it's popular enough, successful enough, feasible, they will try to do it again. That's what he told me. Whether that happens or not is all up in the air. But, it's a different, I think you're oranges to apples from Classified to Thundercats. It's 2 different fan bases and 2 different ways that they're doing their lines. They're merchandising their Thundercats totally different than their merchandising Classified. Thundercats are not in stores, for one thing. That's why they're so expensive. 2, they're not making as many of them. The fan base is dwindling with every wave of Thundercats and every wave of Silverhawks and every figure and every vehicle that they make as an exclusive or whatever. It's dwindling because they're completing that theme, that idea for Thundercats. Yeah, there are still some figures and a couple of cool vehicles I would like to get. I would love to get that cool Thundercat jet. Wouldn't that be awesome to get? I like that jet. They did the Skyrunners for them. I think Silverhawks still has to do the Mirage, and they still have to do the Octopus. What's his name's Octopus for Silverhawks. Monstar's octopus. So that the way that they're doing that line is different than classified. The scale is the same, yes. The way they're merchandising and laying out those line plans, they only do like maybe 3 lines of Thundercats a year, maybe, and some maybe 1 or 2 Silverhawks. And now they're going to get into Tiger Sharks, and then they're doing a lot of reuse. Notice how the last Thundercats line was re-releases of previous figures, and then there's also the LGN lines and the Kenner lines that they're reissuing those as well. So they're trying to get their money back on that line every time they make a new wave. It's very far and few between because they have to get more money for the line in order to make it feasible. There was a leaked list of 4 new figures. I would love to get all 4 for those figures. They have not come out with those 4 figures yet. And according to Brian Flynn, those 4 may not even be the figures in that line. It may be a different couple of figures. They may swap figures out. It just depends. So if you're a Thundercat, Silverhawks, Tiger Sharks fan, I applaud you. And if you can get all that stuff, I applaud you. I am a fan of that, but I did not get the Thundercats lair. I could not do it. It was too expensive. But I did get the Thunder Tag, and I've gotten all the vehicles thus far for all those Silverhawks and Thundercats. I just could not get the Thundercats lair. It was just too big, too expensive. And so I was trying to do it for the G.I. Joe mothership because I was trying to support the mothership and support G.I. Joe through Super 7 so we could get more G.I. Joe. But it didn't work out. There wasn't enough people that wanted it. So that's just the way it goes. So we kind of got off on a tangent with HasLabs, but it is very difficult when it comes to money, space, and feasibility. When you play all those 3 things into these things, you got to look at the realistic ability of what we could possibly get. Now I've laid out probably 10 different items that I thought were feasible for HasLab. If they do a whale, great. If they don't, then oh well. So thank you everybody in the chat contributing. I want to say thank you for everybody joining the chat tonight. Our 150 subs, and then we're going to be doing our 200 episode coming up very shortly, probably next week, maybe the week after. So we're going to do another top 10. We're going to do another Street Fighter, and then we'll talk about some more G.I. Joe in that episode. So as I said at the beginning of this, you guys are wonderful. You're always very positive, very enthusiastic energy in the chat, and you're always giving good suggestions, asking great questions that gives thought-provoking theories and outward discussion for all this stuff, because it is difficult. It is not something that is an easy answer to a lot of this stuff. We do have to think about this stuff, and we all have to approach it differently with our families and our lives and our jobs and so on and so forth. No one person is identical to the next. My situation is not the same as Woody's. Woody's isn't the same as Zazel's, and so on and so forth, and everybody else in the chat as well. So you got to do what is best for you. So I appreciate everybody again. We're looking at, so we jumped ahead and we did 2 vintage packaged figures in this video. So our next figure is 86, and it's a really cool figure from 1986. So it's very interesting that we got 86, and it's an 86 figure, and it's a very cool figure. So that is going to be a next one. It's a new character that we've not got into the line yet. Have a great weekend from Norway, you all. Thank you very much, Bajem. It's been a pleasure having you in the chat, and I look forward to you joining us in the future in other episodes, okay? So yeah, so 86 and 86, and it's a cool character. So we got a bunch of new stuff coming up, and then we're going to be doing a bunch of reuse again. But we're getting very, very close to that 100 mark. And you know what that 100 mark is. And that will be coming up very soon as well. So there you go. So I think that does it. We covered a lot in this video. I hope you guys had a good time, and I hope the discussion was good. And we will see you guys next one. And this was, I'm gonna say it was my top 10 G.I. Joes and 2 vintage Joes. So we're gonna go with Yo Joe. See you guys next time.